My name is Wanda Dina.
Okay, I just had the opportunity to talk to FM Galvan here in Sanderson, Texas. He's 80-something years old. He's been hunting lions in this area since he was 30, I guess. I got to take a bunch of pictures of his photo album. He's sick. He's 80-something years old. He's sick, and he's got cancer real bad. He's real interesting getting to talk to him. Same old thing. He started hunting. I guess all of his friends own these ranches or worked on these ranches around here. And he trapped quite a few lions, and then he started hunting with dogs. He said, I asked him, there's only a few times that he really smiled and laughed. And I asked him, I said, what's funner? Is it you like to trap lions better or hunt them with the dogs? And he laughed. He said, the dogs. He said, that's the way to do it. He said that, he said there's just so much more. He enjoyed it so much more, and you could tell he really liked his dogs. One of the other times he laughed was or smiled and laughed, got a big old grin, he was talking about training his own dogs, and when he said, when it finally clicks and that dog starts trailing and going to catch that lion, he said that's what it's all about right there. So, it wasn't, even though he got paid like $500 a lion bounty, it was still about the dogs for him. He really enjoyed watching the dogs work. He talked a lot about, just sitting up on top of one of these canyons and watching the dogs down in the canyon work a trail out, and of course here he is dying of cancer and he's sitting there smoking a cigarette. But talked about his horses some and how good his horse, he had one horse that he could pack a lion out on, the other horse he didn't. How he always raised some dogs. He said he just kept, enough around, to have 2 packs. He said, catch a dog. He said, you catch a lion with 3 good dogs. He said, you don't need, he said, if you want to keep catching lions, he said, you need more dogs just because, he would hunt a day and then he would take other dogs out and hunt another day with the other dogs to keep fresh dogs on that lion. He said, that's the way that's the way you catch lions, at least in this country. They talked about later on when he got one of those shocking systems, and he was really proud of that. He said, I could shock a dog up to 2 miles away. He said, but he said he only had to shock them a couple times. He said they wouldn't mess around with deer or anything no more. So, I'm trying to think what else he said that was interesting. Never could get him to say what kind of dogs he used. I said, where'd you get your dogs? How I raised them. Well, what kind? He said, I raised them. That's all he'd say. I took pictures. I said, look like some black and white walkers. He said, yeah, some black and tans. Never would say. I asked him about other lion hunters. He knew about the McBrides down here. I guess they're up by Marfa. And he knew about Henry McIntyre. Never did comment. He talked about Rick Dickerson up there at Fort Stockton. He didn't really have a lot to say about him. What else did he say? I got some pretty good pictures. I asked him, how many lions have you caught, you think? And he just laughed. He didn't. He said, oh, a whole bunch. And then, he said, it wasn't, lion was in the canyon. He said sometimes he'd catch 2 in a day. And, one of the things, that I gathered from the conversation was that, to know where to go, he said he was born and raised here. He knew where to go to look for a lion. He said, you know where there's lions. He said, and if there's not one there today, he said, there'll be one there tomorrow or the next day. And then he said, good dogs. He said, when you get a good dog, he said, you get that good dog. He said, then you'll know they'll catch a lion for you. And what else did he say? Oh, he said, you just got to know. He said, you just learn those dogs. Learn the dogs. You just learn the dogs, what they do. So there you go. That's about it.
estoy aquí, I am still here. Todavía estoy aquí, my soul is dancing in the moonlight. Oh, mingle with each grain of sand in the land that is my birthright. I am still here, todavía estoy aquí. I am still here, todavía estoy aquí. My name is Juan Medina, of a carol once was I. Now I live in the air above the pepper trees.